HBCU Delaware Talks. Again, thank you very much for allowing me, we, to be in your living room this evening to talk about some good old HBCU things that happened here in Wilmington, Delaware,
Absolutely.
Philadelphia, Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Thank you so much. Um, we're here. And again, I'm so excited about what the historical Black colleges and university has done for me in my life. I'm thankful that you all are here as guests to talk about what the HBCUs have done for you in your lives. We're here to talk about some of the things that you're doing now because of an HBCU. We're here to talk about what's going on in the city of Wilmington. In fact, about a month ago almost, we had the HBCU initiative in the city of Wilmington where we, over 100 acceptance letters and scholarships was given to students to attend an
Awesome.
HBCU
Awesome.
Yes.
a couple weeks ago. Thank you, City of Wilmington. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Tanny. Thank you, Earl Cooper. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Kaline. And thank the rest of you, because we just have a good old time. You know, the HBCU Coalition is growing. It's very important, as it's essential for us to really get involved and get activated where we can really work together as a team and not in these different silos. You know, HBCU, by the way, is a movement. It's not just a historical Black college or university. We are some of the top brain surgeons in the world. So it is about time for us to put all this brain knowledge together where we can impact, inspire, inform our community about historically Black colleges and universities. Thank you. Welcome to the show. And please introduce yourselves in your own way. How you doing?
Hey, Steve. I'm glad to be here. My name is Robert Adams. I am a Delawarean. I've been here since '93. Prior to that, I attended Virginia State University. I'm a graduate in '86, and ever since then, my life has changed because I had the opportunity to attend and graduate Virginia State University. So right now, I currently work for Johnson & Johnson as a pharmaceutical sales representative.
Wow.
And I've just started my new business with R Entertainment and Productions, and we'll be able to talk more about that as
Yes,
time
sir.
goes on.
All right.
Good evening, and thank you. My name is Kia Naylor. I am a proud 1997 graduate of Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina. Yes, I saw that. 1997. We celebrated our 20-year reunion this year at Alumni Weekend. So I'm Philadelphia, born and raised, still currently live in the city of brotherly love, sisterly affection. I am officially a job developer, community liaison. I do prison reentry, so basically it is my job to make sure men and women who are coming home from our state and federal prison system within the Commonwealth, or basically within the city of Philadelphia, to get home, get jobs, get settled, and not go back to jail. So that is who I am in a nutshell. It's what I do. It's what I love. I am a proud HBCU graduate. I didn't have a choice. I had to go to an HBCU.
Oh, wow.
I had to go. My mom went to Temple. She was like, you are not going to a majority school.
Sure.
You are going to a HBCU, and you got to move 450 miles away from the city of Philadelphia.
Awesome.
So,
My name is Chai Davis. I am a Bennett Belle as well, class of '97 with my sister. Why did I choose Bennett? I went to the campus one day and fell in love and decided that's where I was going to go. I knew I wanted to go away from my mom, love her dearly, but I wanted to get away. So, but close enough where she could come save me if I needed to be saved.
Exactly.
So I went to Bennett. I majored in psychology. I currently teach preschool. And I also have my own company. I started my own company, Creative Minds Administration Services. Protecting the intellectual properties of songwriters and producers, as well as helping my clients and non-clients receive placements on with major artists.
That's beautiful. All right. Well, I'm Danielle Woods. I'm actually from Delaware. Went to Atlanta, Georgia, Clark, Atlanta, as you can see. Had an awesome time there. I know you were saying that you said your mom didn't want you to go too far?
No.
Or she wanted
Her
you to
mom told her
My
to
mom
get.
told me I had to go 450
Oh,
miles
just 450.
outside
I feel like
of Philadelphia, minimum.
Okay, my mom wanted me to stay in Delaware, but I wanted to get out of Delaware. Ended up going to Atlanta, Georgia. I have two cousins. One went to Clark College, one went to Atlanta University. And of course, myself being at Clark Atlanta, bridge that gap, and being able to, keep that legacy going within our family. And I'm currently an educator. I teach in Wilmington, and I'm also a business owner. I operate a business called So You Need a Tutor, where I work with youth and helping them to hone in on those skills that they need to be successful. So.
wow. Chelsea, that is awesome. You see, Wilmington, there are some beautiful people here, right in your city, that are doing some fabulous things. See, we just take ordinary people and do extraordinary things with them. And I thank God for you all. And welcome to the show.
Thank
So,
you.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
So there's a lot going on in the city of Wilmington. Let me tell you a little bit about the initiative that was the City of Wilmington HBCU Delaware Coalition. Our Mayor Mike Przicki, we decided to come together and form a group or a groups where we can actually provide information or out for kids in Wilmington, and it really blew up, and they're going to do it again next year. We are going to do it again next year, where we can get more opportunities for kids. The important thing is that we as educators, I'm an educator myself, founder of HBCU Delaware Coalition. I'm not going to talk too much about me because people say he's so vain, and so I'm not going to get into it. But it's just so important that we share our stories, because that kid that is looking at us right now may not have an idea as what it's like at a historical black college university. There's kids in Wilmington that may not even think about going to college. There's kids right now, as in schools, they're really out there just surviving. You know what I mean? So education's the last thing. That's why it's very, very important that we, the HBCU Coalition Movement, that we really put it out there for our communities. And I'm not just talking about different silos, because we do very much work in our different silos, but we really need to come together and show that we are force, because power is in numbers, and we get together with our numbers, we could grow this whole community. And that's really what this is all about. And right now, Mr. Adams,
Yes.
an event, you know what, you all have something in common too. I know, but you all don't know.
Who?
That both of you, you're a promoter too.
Me?
You.
And Mr. Adams?
Yes.
Besides the fact that his daughter's going to go to Bennett?
Oh my. Let me find out.
Yes,
Huh?
we've already
She
decided.
wanted to go to
Adams, she never
Clark
shared that with us.
It's okay. He said
Yeah,
she wanted to
she's
go to
going to
Clark.
Bennett.
She's going to Clark?
She's going to
Or
Clark.
Bennett?
She's going to Bennett.
I guarantee you,
She got her
Spelman nights.
Bennett letter.
And you know what? The Hampton folk, they're probably out there saying, no, she's going to go to Hampton. Well, you know what? She probably will become a Spartan. But I get it. See what I mean? So it's a lot of fun that what we're talking about right now, but it's for real, because we're talking about something positive. We hear about so many negative things that are happening in Wilmington yesterday, day before. In fact, while I'm there, I'd like to just send my condolences out for those families that were in the violence yesterday, the gun violence. And the lady with the kids that were drowned, or don't let me say drowned, I don't know what happened, but I just want to send prayers out for those families. Our community, we need healing. And we HBCU community, we can make it happen.
Yes.
We have to stay connected. We really have to start, like after the show, let's stay connected, where we can grow. But let me get back to you about the entertainment, sir.
Yes. Well, as I mentioned, this past year, I started our entertainment and productions. And the whole crux of the design of our entertainment and productions is really to partner with historically black colleges and universities to help them with entertainment. Oftentimes for homecoming or for alumni weekends, the school has to put on some sort of entertainment to really bring alumni back and to keep them connected. So what we chose to do is to partner with the school so we can alleviate them having to do it. It's something that we do. So we're able to go to the school. For example, I just did Virginia State University, and upcoming I'm going to be working with University of Maryland Eastern Shore to provide entertainment for their homecoming. And what we do is we give a portion of the proceeds back to the university's endowment. And so that's our way of helping to keep those HBCU doors open. We're able to bring the alumni back, get them to come back with enthusiasm and keep them connected. Because we know that if we're able to keep the alumni connected to their universities,
Sure.
that we can keep those doors open. There's a tremendous amount of pride, and they'll be more than happy to support their university.
Awesome.
So that's what our entertainment is about, and we're excited to be a part of that.
Awesome. Listen, I'm going to take a 1.5 minute break, and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in to HBCU Delaware Talks, and thank you again for allowing us, me, to all be in your living room this evening talking about HBCUs. If you haven't been tuned in, or if you just tuned in, thank you. We have Bennett College on here. We have Virginia State University. We have the Norfolk State University. We also have Clark Atlanta University and HU, and that doesn't stand for Hampton.
Everybody else knows that but you. Everybody knew that but you.
Yeah, and we have Howard University. Welcome to the show. Introduce yourself in your own way and tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Tia Joseph. I am a elementary school teacher, second grade. I work at Bancroft Elementary School here in Wilmington, and I'm really excited to be here here. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And I am from the illustrious Howard University, class of 99, 4 years and only 4 years.
Oh, yes, that's a
Yes, I
conversation
wasn't
that we can have.
Yes, yes.
Because really it's important. 4 years is, today, 4 years is really important because it's astronomical. The price for college is, wow. When I was in college, it was $8,000 a year. So you could spend about 17 years in college then. But now, what's wrong?
17 years in college, huh?
I said, no, I said, was you with the Flintstones in college? $8,000. Sorry.
That's why I love HBCU, guys. See, and it's a good, and this is the bond that we have. We have a common bond where we have fun and we learn together. We learn a lot about each other. One of the things that's not happening in the community today is that people don't know each other. One thing about going to an HBCU, you know people, and then you'll be surprised that when you're home and you saw you in the past, you said, that face looks familiar, and then he went to college with you. And it's just we just had so much fun, and we smart. We're brains now. You know what I mean? Something sparked it, and now we're doing what we do because of an HBCU. Now you were staying 4 years. Now 4 years that's good. That means you were focused. I went over a semester because of student teaching. It's not that I did 5 years. I just want you to know that.
Right.
So
That's
she
what
said,
they
right.
all say, you know.
But but the important thing is that you finish.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes you go in and then you thinking that it's going to be easy. College is not easy. I'm going to tell you right now, everybody in here had to go through something that caused them to persevere. Mr. Adams, can you tell me what caused you to persevere at Virginia State University?
Well, I was focused, and I knew that I wanted a better life, and I knew that the ticket to getting a better life was going to be getting my college degree. And so now it was hard with 21 girls for every guy. It was hard down there. And I had to pledge by myself. It was hard down there, but you have to stay focused. And I always say Virginia State is where I grew up because I went in as a freshman not knowing anything. And you have to learn how to balance your life. Of course, you want to socialize and you want to party, but you're there for an education, and you have to get your work, and you have to continue to be focused and look at the light at the end of the tunnel, and then like you said, meeting a lot of people from different walks of life, from different areas, you do build a bond, and they become friends for life, and so I love it, and I still go back every year for homecoming and for alumni weekend because it's where I grew up and it's where I created so many fun and profitable relationships.
Awesome. What about, you said yours was it 21-1?
21-1.
Theirs was 100-0.
To 100-0.
No, please don't misunderstand. Yes, ma'am. There's a saying in the city of Greensboro, and I don't know if you remember Coach Matt. I hear the bells ringing.
Uh-oh.
See, we didn't need to go to North Carolina A&T. We didn't need to go to University of North Carolina, Greensboro. We didn't need to go to Hopkins University. They came to us.
Oh my.
They did. They did.
Please don't ever misperceive when they said they hear the bells are ringing. And did they not? They would sit in the parlor because, yes, they were parlors.
Oh
had
my.
to sit in the parlor.
You had to sit in the parlor. And
visit.
they would sit, and we would be courted in the parlor.
Mhm.
You dig what I'm saying? So we didn't need to be outnumbered.
Wow. You see that, Wilmington? You see the passion. I like you because you have that passion.
We'll talk about something.
That passion.
just a
What about
zero.
you? What about your experience and what caused you to persevere over
How
there?
come I wasn't asked
Inside
how I
David.
persevered? I'm feeling some type of way.
I believe she liked to
I don't want to
how
answer the
she
question now.
What
Go
caused you to
ahead.
persevere?
Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, I'm Miss Davis. Could you? We are trying to.
It's live TV.
This is live. But that's awesome. That's awesome. But
That's why our meetings take so long.
Yeah, they
Yo.
take forever. What
what caused you to persevere at Bennett College?
Well, as Mr. Adams stated about the, partying and
Oh, really?
stuff.
Okay.
I was there, so you might want to go to the back.
Howard University.
Somebody there.
Yes, I got you.
How did I persevere?
Yes,
How
what-
did I persevere? I think coming from a single parent household,
Sure.
honestly, my mother raised me, and she took. I have a great relationship with my dad, but financially, it was my mother who took care of me, and I knew that this was our ticket out. This was our ticket where we needed to be, and I knew that approaching that, my freshman year, I partied, I had a good time. Sophomore year, I just wasn't focused. And then something happened in junior year when I started really looking at that transcript. And I decided that, Tia, you're not here to waste time. You're here for something valuable because someone didn't get here. And so I decided that now was the time. There was no time, better time than that present at that time. And I just decided to move forth. And I really buckled down and ended up just hanging in there. And Howard has such a great spiritual base, and so I really leaned on my my friends who I was in ministry with, and we really banded together, and they were there to pray me through and help me study through. And so I had a really great community of people that helped me along that journey to get to the class of '99. So perseverance just really. I can't say that it was ingrained in me, but I definitely, it began to become embedded in me as time continued. Yep.
Well, for myself, coming from a household of all girls, and me being the oldest, I had to set that example.
Sure.
It was a lot of pressure all the time, but I knew that I could do it. And going down to Atlanta, it's a lot happening in Atlanta, but I decided to, focus on what I needed to focus on. And something happened my freshman year, and I never would have thought that it would happen while I was at college. I lost my great-grandmother. So when you talk about perseverance, I wanted to just stop everything. And I understand, what it's like to be away from home, not with your family, but then what Tia was talking about, having that band of friends who now become family, and helping to push you through. My brother's from Morehouse College, my sister's from Spelman College, and then also everyone that was at, Clark Atlanta University. We all came together, they all came together for me to help me through that. So that was really, really awesome to see, because I know there's like some little rivalry going on, but they understood like this is something that we need to definitely, work through. So just pushing through and just knowing what the end goal was. So.
Awesome. We always have, that's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, beginning with the end in mind. And sometimes there's so many things, so many obstacles that fall between the beginning and the end. So you have to persevere. But we all had to experience, that part, especially being away from home, being blessed enough to go to college. And that's why it's so important that we, the HBCU family here in Delaware, we really have to get this movement started where we can start supporting everyone's college.
Absolutely.
Cheney's in need of help. Can you imagine us all standing on Cheney's campus in solidarity? All the HBCUs. By the way, speaking of which, we are, can I make this announcement right fast? We, the Historical Black Colleges and Universities Delaware Coalition, we will be participating in this year's Christmas parade, November 17th, 11 o'clock, downtown Wilmington. A little competition, who could bring out the most alumni members in our chapter, and we just want to come together. We'll have a good old time in the parade. It's healthy because first and foremost, we're doing some walking, and then we're going to talk about what do we do next to build our community? What do we do next to help our community to grow? What do we do next to help curtail crime? A lot of kids are killing each other because their lack of, and then when we have their lack, especially in reading, speaking of which, we learn to read between kindergarten and 3rd grade, then we read to learn from 4th grade throughout the rest of our lives. A lot of these kids, they're not reading on grade level. And it's hard for them to especially move forward, especially with Common Core. They teach content, and I don't see a lot of skills being taught. So we have to really begin to look out for our youth, You know, and I'm not saying, when I say all youth, I'm talking about our babies, all babies. Maybe black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter, because I don't want everyone to think we talk historically black colleges and universities, that's exclusion. We include everyone. You know, in fact, there's a great population of Europeans at Dell State now, and there's a great population of Europeans at Norfolk State now, Virginia State. So across the board, people are going to college.
Right.
We have got to change that fixed mindset in our city. We have to become proactive instead of being reactive. We have to get out of that good old boy network, and we have to have transparency. And the only way I believe that we can become transparent as a community if we do this thing together. So I'm asking you all to come out to the parade, hang out, and we're gonna have a good old time. I think you have something coming up with Founders Day. Can you tell
Yes,
us
yes.
a little bit about Founders
So it's funny you mentioned November 17th. November 17th is the Omega Psi Phi Founders
I'm
Day.
sorry, did I say November 17th? I thought I said November 25th. My bad.
Okay.
Okay,
The
let's
17th.
straighten that, because yes, the 25th. I don't want you to come out the 17th.
17th.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But yeah, November 17th is Omega Psi Phi's Founders Day. And what we're doing is we're in a celebration mood to celebrate the Founders Day. So what our entertainment and productions is doing is we want to bring some entertainment to the Wilmington area. And so we are bringing SWV, John B., and comedian Buck Wild to the Chase Center on November 17th at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at repconcerts.com. We're going to have a great time that night, and tickets are really selling well now, but we expect that to even speed up even more. So you may want to get your tickets as soon as possible. But that's just the beginning of our celebration.
Awesome. And prior to that celebration, on the same day, at 4 o'clock, we're having an HBCU fundraiser happy hour, so to speak, at the West End Hotel in the River Rock Cafe. Same day, so you're going to go from the River Rock Cafe into the Chase Center, into the show. So we're going to be there for like 4 to 7. You start at 7.
Right.
So we're doing this thing together. And you know, when you come to the River Rock, just if you can, donate $1, $2, because everything that we do is going for a scholarship.
Absolutely.
You know, we really need to build a scholarship fund for these kids, or for our youth at any college. You know, and that's one of the ideas I've came up with, is that we support every kid.
Absolutely.
You know, and if we could do it together, we have more. You know? So please come out to that event. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. I haven't seen SWV in a long time.
It's going to be a great show. It's going to be a great show.
And now, can Miss Bennett College from Philly?
What's that?
Tell me a little bit about your business.
That's Bennett from Delaware. I don't have a business.
Well, what is it that you do? I'm sorry.
I do prison reentry.
Okay.
I do prison reentry.
Talk to me.
So what I basically do, I get kind of on the backside. It's ironic that I'm in a room with a bunch of educators, because it's one of the things that some of my clients lack is basic education. Can I turn around and look at y'all sound like this? Hi. Okay. So, but no, I do prison reentry. You will be surprised. 98% of my clients are African American males. I have a good deal of men coming home that can't even read at a second grade level. They never took the time, for whatever reason, to even get their GED. You know, so it's like I now have a perfect example of a gentleman did 37 years. He's coming home and he's literally starting over from scratch, educationally, employment, from scratch. So, but you know, even when you're in prison, Villanova has a thing in Graterford where you can still go in. You know, you have your jailhouse lawyers that are actual lawyers, have obtained law degrees, but sometimes I sit and think, what would have happened if? You know, so simple, because especially that we hear about our and I'm partial, I believe in exclusivity, not always inclusivity. But what would have happened if this young man, this young woman had the chance, had that teacher that believed in them, where they could have gotten that education, and not just gotten that education at a Temple or Westchester, not trying to take away from that, but there's something special when you are educated by your own. That's one of the things I can say about Bennett. How many professors did we have that were black women that were PhDs.
Yes.
I went to a school, I don't know, terminology, windows and mirrors, I'm sure everybody's heard that, where I was mirrored every single day. Convocation, freshman year, Dr. Gloria Scott said to us, look to the woman to your left, look to the woman to your right. The woman to your left will change history. The woman to your right will create history.
Wow,
How powerful is that?
that is.
When you are 18 years old, can you imagine if we took these children, I think if we took these men that I deal with, I remember my freshman year in high school said, look to the left, look to the right, the person on either side won't be here in 4 years. Can you imagine that impact? How different this world would be if they had that opportunity, if they heard that positivity? Once again, not trying to take away from the Westchesters and Temples, and my mom went to Temple, you know, but man, what would have happened if she would have been able to go to a Bennett? You know, she would have went to Bennett, but I'm saying the truth.
I get it.
You know, but I think about that. That's why I'm so passionate. I'm passionate about education anyway. But there's something about seeing yourself reflected, not being that one person in that room full of people. There's something about Bennett. I think my biggest class was 15 people.
Yes. Yeah.
When we were at Bennett, we had 620 students on and off campus, full and part-time. You don't beat that. That's why your daughter's coming to Bennett.
Yes.
That's awesome. You see, and we have educators all the. That's why this time, HBCU, this is so important because we have so many graduates that can join together, go back and teach reading under this umbrella. You know, all of us. This is. You probably can't even see how huge this is right now. You know, this is going to impact our country. And we just have to, as we did in college, we have to believe. Our kids right now, they're not believing because they don't see it. So, you know, we have to go into the schools. We have to begin to show up, show our presence in support of each other. We fail because of our differences. You know, and from what I know is that the difference is the answer to a subtraction equation. So we counsel each other out, you know. So we grow because of our similarities. We have more in common, or we have more things similar than we do different. But our difference is stopping us.
Right.
I want everybody to really get on board with the coalition. We only have one coalition, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. This coalition is yours. This television show is yours. I don't want it just to be one time you come on. Then say, Steve, listen, I need to bring our people on, you know. We in at Tally, I don't know, I may have said it earlier about the HBCU Scholars Academy for our low performers or the kids that are getting put out of class, because we want to change that mindset. I'd like to see that through all the schools, you know, where we can even just begin to bring our kids up. You know, we don't have our Wilmington School District. We don't have a whole bunch of teachers in the community teaching our kids. We don't see our kids at the supermarkets, you know, or on a Saturday somewhere. So we need that family. We have kids that are killing now because they don't know each other. You know, it was unheard of when I was a kid growing up that somebody got shot. That was unheard of, you know. And now because the kids, they don't have that environment. They don't know each other, so they don't care. Besides, all of them are really going through, all of them that are killing each other, I guarantee you, they don't read on the same grade level. In fact, they don't read on their grade level for their age. Because if they could read, they could see. If they could see, they can infer. They can tell you which, you know, they can actually see the outcome. Kids today, they can only see income, and I'm talking about financial. So they only, and see, they don't see that big picture because their lack of skills. We have to get better. You know, we have to really make this work. So I'm hoping that you all don't make this a one-time, one-shop stop. You know. So on another page, the parade. We talked about the entertainment. You're an early childhood teacher. You're a teacher at Bancroft. I know you see it all the time. Tell me about what's Bancroft like with African American female in there teaching our babies. So what's your day like at Bancroft?
Well, my day, it starts off with getting myself together
Sure.
first. Because if I'm not together, then I'm not good for my kids. But just making sure that whatever I pour into myself, I'm an avid reader. So I pour those things into them. Starting off with, they call it morning meetings,
Sure.
but goal setting. Even talking to the kids, we have something called Class Dojo, where we, see how many points they have for those positive behaviors that they show. But saying, okay, here's your goal. It's something very small, but having them to start off their day, okay, this is where I am. Where do I want to be? What do I need to do to get there? Because sometimes they just come to school and they don't know why they're there. We know, of course, why they're there, but just keeping them interested and having something for them to work towards is something that I think should be instilled within every class. Because like you were talking about the young man who, was looking, at the, oh, sorry, that was another event that I was at.
That's
But there was
okay.
another man, I just came from another location. But the young man was talking about a student that he had saw that was looking at some text on a computer, and he was reading it, and he was like, what are you reading? He was like, it's penguins or something like that. And he was like, well, are you interested in it? And he was just like, no, I don't really like penguins. And he was like, well, why are you doing it? And he was like, because my teacher told me. So just having, the interest of those students within the classroom, I think is really important, and setting that tone for the day.
So in my class, after breakfast, the first thing we're really doing is saying a pledge that I used to do with my class years ago when I taught in the Bronx. It's called the Peace Builders Pledge, and it's really a mantra just encouraging the students to be accountable to one another and themselves, and learning how to be peace builders, not only at school, but in their home and in their community. And so we do that daily. And I'm very intentional about when I do it, and sometimes I will stop in the middle of a lesson if I feel that they are not being peace builders, and we will do it again. And I always say, do you believe it? Because I think saying things and then bridging the gap between doing things and really believing that it's true about them is a big difference. And so I teach to the whole child, and I have been teaching to the whole child most of my career. I don't just teach them education, I teach them how to be little people, and how to hold doors, and how to carry bags for pregnant women at our school, and how to say sorry, because that goes beyond the book. And I am really challenging myself to check my attitude, to check my responses this year, so that they're not seeing what they may see at home every day. And so that is really, I know that I'm giving more of a different side of the my educational day, but that is really what I am doing daily to just impart something into my students. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Hardest thing for a man to do is tell a kid that they love him. So I tell my kids, I love you, and they don't hear that. And they look at you like, because you have to mean it, that you love, you have to love. That's what we miss, it, love. And I'm talking about, if I'm speaking to our community, we have to really begin to love one another in spite of how we feel about each other. And we don't do that. Do you know how far, listen, where we are today, 2017, Martin Luther King wanted us here 50 years ago. So we still have some growing to do. We haven't had a movement since the Martin days. HBCU is a HBCU is a movement. I'm trying to get this, understand it's a movement where it's time for us to take control of the country by being smart, by loving each other, by showing each other that we support each other in spite of, and we got to get there. And I think that the coalition, with all of us together, will make this happen. Because we done tried everything else. So this is what it is, and we're in Delaware. It's so small. that we will impact the country and set the precedent as it will grow throughout the other countries. We're the only HBCU live television broadcast in the country.
It's great. It's awesome.
So we have to really keep this. By the way, I'm running out of depth. So it costs money, but it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It costs a whole lot of numbers. You know, I ask that you all join the HBCU Delaware Coalition because everyone is important, and we are strong enough to take the community by storm and make it work for these kids. We could stop crime, not just curtail it. We could really stop crime. You know, if we with this population. That's why they're on the HBCU now. It's a big thing now, by the way, you know. So we really have to take it and run. We have to connect, you know. That's why it's very important for you all to come out and be in the parade on November 25th. You know? And we're going to walk in the parade, and we're just going to have a good old time. You know, I'm asking, I hope that you come. I would even like to go as far as like you coming into the school. You coming into the schools, you coming into the school. Not just your school, like, you know, we're in different school districts. So one time our district mayor, if I come into your school, come into your classroom, talk to your little boys and little girls, you know, about what it's like, you know, because they don't see it. And if it's out of sight, it's out of mind.
Right.
So we really, this is really, really, really huge. And I'm excited.
I'm excited. It's
You
great.
excited?
I'm excited.
Educators.
Let's go.
You all are the educators. I like your story. How can we get together as a coalition, help some of these guys that can't read, that just got out of
You
prison?
know what? Where I work, the organization I work for is an amazing nonprofit. And we actually have a director of education. So it is her job, I shouldn't say it like that, but it is her job
Sure.
to make sure that my guys, and I say my guys because I'm very possessive of them, because I say, you don't go back because I have a 100% rating. You come home, you stay home. I don't like to look bad. Don't make me look bad because I'm going to advocate for you. I'm talking to a judge why you should not be violated. You're going to take this GED class. You know, you're going to take this basic life skills. We're going to do this. And then we can get you enrolled in CCP, the Community College of Philadelphia, because they have a program for reentrants, you know, so they can get that associate's degree. And then you can go to a Lincoln, to a Cheney, because reality, you can't leave the state. In Commonwealth, Pennsylvania, you cannot
She
leave
said
the
in
state.
reality they can't leave the state.
Well,
Now, unless
No, we're online,
Norfolk
though.
State, do they have an online program?
We do.
Okay, then, well, there you go. We will put them online. Financial aid, do the Pell Grant, do everything else, let
To
them know.
get it, yeah.
But to get that degree, and I always encourage, I always encourage, because there's nothing more beautiful than having a college degree. I'm sorry, I said it. But I encourage them to go beyond. It's important to think outside the box. It's important to think outside your current situation.
Sure.
You know, so you have been physically imprisoned for X amount of years. Reality is you are going to be mentally imprisoned for almost the same amount of time. But while you're still in your silo, I'm gonna use your term, we can still get that education.
That's right.
You know, because just because this is what you did, I always tell my clients, I'm never gonna ask you what you did, because I don't care about what you did. I'm worried about what you're gonna do. Because we're not gonna keep focusing on what's behind us. I'm focusing on your future.
Yep.
So that's, now I can't unfortunately have my clients go to Bennett, but
But,
you can have
and
your
the
daughter
good
go to
thing is
Bennett.
that, and you're in Philly,
I'm in Philadelphia,
and
yes.
I think we may have one of those programs in Delaware, and if we don't, we will. We HBCU folk, we're gonna attack everything. We have people that could do. See, a degree is the proof that you can complete a long-term project. We have people from HBCUs all over Wilmington. How come we don't have it right yet? Can anyone please answer that question? Because there's no way that we should not be growing as a community. we have got to do this. This is so serious. This is so huge. And I thank God for vision. You know, HBCU Delaware Coalition is 501c3. You know, so we could take this and make it whatever we need to do. Whatever we need to do to get it right, let's just do it. We have to network. I don't care. We just have to meet up. I mean, Delaware Black, they have meetups. Those cats are HBCUs as well.
Yeah.
So we have to really do it right as far as the HBCU community is. We are a community.
Absolutely.
And to get it, to grow it, you know. Fraternities and sororities. I didn't pledge. They didn't want me to pledge. I would have been telling them what to do. Actually, I was going to pledge Kip. We're underground. Ike Owens, I know you watching this. Oh, we underground, remember? We were underground. But I had to do student teacher. They said, you can't pledge to do student teacher. They had an I on the transcript.
You can.
Not me. You did?
I did.
But I couldn't.
Well, remember, he was in college.
They didn't
with the
let us.
Flintstones.
No. They didn't allow us to pledge with an I. And before student teaching, they would give you that I until you completed it. Those days. So I was like, okay, I'm going to pledge. So tell me, you did pledge a sorority?
Yes, I did. The best sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Pearl Bearing Sigma chapter at Clark Atlanta University, spring 2011. Graduated from the class of 2011, so it can be done. So, you know, just making things happen, and it goes back to what you were talking about, persevering. Had to make it happen.
You must have money left. I ain't have any money left either. And you're a cute Psi Phi. Tell me a little bit about the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, sir.
Well, you know, many of you know that the Omega Psi Phi fraternity was founded on November 17th, 1911 by four men, Cooper, Coleman, Justin Love. I actually pledged at Virginia State University, which is New Psi chapter, and in 1984. And we're close. We're close. We brothers from New Psi are all over the world, and we're still close today. We have a New Psi chat line, and I came from a very strong undergraduate chapter. We did a lot of social actions programs, and Virginia State is in Petersburg, Virginia, and we did a lot of social actions programs for the high schoolers there. And now I am a member. In fact, I am the immediate past bossilus of New Upsilon chapter here in the northern Newcastle County area.
Oh, nice.
And so it doesn't start and stop at college, but we understand that when you are a member of a Greek organization, it's a way of life, and your impact is well beyond college, and it's about giving back. And speaking of giving back, I'd like to talk about, or just mention to you about, the Common Black College application. A friend of mine, Rob Mason in Atlanta, started the Common Black College application. And as you well know, so many students are challenged with filling out the application and paying the money.
Oh, yeah.
And Rob had the wisdom to talk to the schools, and together they were able to come up with the Common Black College application. And so what it does is it allows students to fill out one application and goes to 51 historically black colleges and universities. And just imagine being able to just do that. And so what I've done for the state of Delaware, and in partnership with the Common Black College application, is that our entertainment and productions will pick up the cost for the application. So for any student in the state of Delaware that decides to complete the Common Black College application, there's a special code that their school counselors will have, and it allows them to complete the college application for free, and it goes out to 51 historically black colleges and universities.
Wow.
So that's giving back. That's making sure that we can keep these doors open for the HBCUs, and as you said, give students another opportunity, another choice to think about where to go to college. I was one that, coming out of high school in New Jersey, I really had not thought about going to an HBCU, and I actually wound up going to Virginia State on default. And when I went down there, I fell in love with Virginia State. And so now this is my opportunity to introduce HBCUs to students here in the state of Delaware who may not have otherwise thought about them. And so that's our part of giving back, and we're happy and proud to do that. And we're encouraging all students and all counselors to have the conversation about attending an historically black college and university and filling out the Common Black College application.
I have a question. Have you guys thought about the tours? You know, like spring break, taking busload of kids to visit HBCUs?
Well, we have not done that, but I know that there's a lot of entities that are doing that, the Black College tours. And so, so that part, no, we have not done.
I was just
But we
thinking,
really
because
support
if you are supporting the application process,
Mm-hmm.
part of that could be taking them on this tour so they can see the HBCUs, to give them a better understanding and to encourage them to apply and to use the service that you're offering for the free application.
Right. Yeah, and there are, like I mentioned, there's a lot of entities that actually are doing that. I know that the Black Achievers have one because my daughter's been on several tours. I know that the Deltas have one here, Wilmington Alumni Chapter, as well. So, so we're probably not there yet, but we are happy to support them. In fact, one things I hope that we can do next year, and you mentioned about having the HBCU Coalition in conjunction with the mayor's office. What I hope we can do is take it a step further. There's a app called scholarships.com. Sure. And one of the things that I would like to do is to partner with this initiative for next year. And let's get all the students who are interested in going to an HBCU, let's get them into a common location where A, they can fill out the application. B, they can have alumni like all of us come in there and talk to them about what's it like going to an HBCU.
Sure.
During that time, we have them fill out an information piece where we can feed that into scholarships.com, and then let's print out all of the scholarships that they would be eligible for, where all they have to do is with their parents fill out the FAFSA and submit it. And so not only will we help them get into college, but let's help them secure scholarships that will help to support them for that.
Yes.
So that's an idea that I would love to talk to you more about, so we can do that as well.
Awesome. And we are.
Absolutely.
You know, when the thought turned into, well, I mean, the thought, as soon as it comes out your mouth, it's on.
It's on.
That's great.
But
That's
here's what we, and we should continue that conversation. One thing we do at HBCUs, we'll start something and then we'll stop. Only 3% of us HBCU grads give back. You know, so that's a great idea, especially for the city of Wilmington, the state of Delaware.
Right.
We're small.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you know, time is winding down, and I really do thank and appreciate you all. And please, do not allow this to be the last show. There's another show coming up in November where we're going to have some of the kids that were accepted
Great. That's awesome.
by the colleges. So I would like for you all to join in on that show. I reached out to our AVID program for Brandywine High School, Concord High School, Mount Pleasant High School, because I work in the district. And I did receive responses where some of the kids that received scholarships and some of the kids that received acceptance letters were going to come together. In fact, they're marching in the parade.
That's awesome. That's great.
So
That's great.
this is big. See?
HBCU.
So again, I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all, Delaware, for tuning in. And thank you again. Have a great evening. God bless you.